The Service to the Citizen Champions of Change program is honored to celebrate its 6th year, recognizing the excellence and the services provided by public servants and industry partners. These heroes that work tirelessly to provide the best services possible are recognized for their commitment to improving government services. We honor their commitment to providing changes with a positive impact on the public's lives.
Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Michelle Perez. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'll say a few things. Everyone is looking so beautiful tonight, and those of you at home too. I'll say first, Happy New Year to my Jewish friends. Woohoo! And to celebrate the first day of Hispanic Heritage Month, I say to all, felicidades! Thank you for that introduction. It was super kind and always makes me feel awkward and uncomfortable. And for pulling together this incredible and impressive group of individuals tonight. First and foremost, congratulations to the honorees and those who are here this evening and those who couldn't attend. My name, as you noted, is Michelle Perez, and I have the honor of serving as the Assistant Deputy Secretary for HUD. I oversee the 64 field offices, you heard that, and truth be told, the reason why that's so important and significant to me personally, because we honestly serve as HUD's front door. We are the office where people who are looking for help call first. A little about me, I am a first-generation American. My mother is from Haiti, my father is from El Salvador. And as you've heard before, I've worked in the field, I've worked in headquarters, I've worked as a careerist, I'm now a political, I've worked in domestic, international, and ultimately, a very noble mission close to my heart, serving those who have served our nation. Where I am now is leading an office that I started back in 1999, so completely full circle. Service to the citizen, what could more succinctly describe why we do what we do every single day? In this room tonight, we have so many wonderful teams and organizations represented. HUD is in the house, USDA, I want to hear you, OMB, Social Security, the Department of Veterans Affairs, HHS, the Navy, the Marine Corps, the state of Minnesota, more than I can name. And each and every single one, a deeply noble mission. So many different missions and programs, but we all have that one thing in common. We are committed, devoted, and love the work that we do. We choose to serve, and we are called to this work. And this celebration uplifts those among us who we see and we celebrate and we are grateful for. But of course, we're only one half of the equation, right? The other half, the most important half, I would argue, those are the people that we serve. Our customers are the why of what we do. We can, and we do, measure our processes and our performance metrics with data points and other information, but at the end of the day, a basic measure that we are all accountable for is, are our customers getting the services that they need and the services that they have earned and the services that they deserve? Are we treating them with respect and with dignity, with compassion and care? Those of you being honored tonight understand that principal point, and you have distinguished yourselves and your teams by finding better ways of getting to yes, better ways of saying, let's see what we can do. Let's get to the bottom of that. Let's figure out how to make it right. And at the end of the day, let's fix it. Because you anticipate, you hear, you listen, and at the end of the day, you receive the gift of feedback that our customers give us every single day. We acknowledge past harm, we find the gaps in service, and we address the historical policies and practices that were racially discriminatory or inhibited equal opportunity for all. You understand that when we make a leap forward in the level of service that we provide, there is an exponential effect to the benefit that we deliver to everyone involved. And you understand that it's not enough to reach excellence, although we see a whole lot of it here tonight. We must sustain excellence in service to the people who demand our attention, our care, and our compassion. Excellence means sustainment. Improvement is continuous. It's been often said that information is power, and we deliver that information to people at their greatest moment of need, in a moment of crisis. I can say that specifically to the HUD team that's acknowledged tonight. Disaster response and understanding the crisis that our people are facing in a moment where they are literally left with nothing is an incredible service to render. And that is our power. That is our collective strength. That is our superpower, and ultimately, that is our obligation. We are improving the overall customer experience, and we are building a better government that is worthy of trust. At the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, we have made that our guiding principle, our aspirational goal, and as HUD Secretary Marcia Fudge has said, it matters most that we care for those who need us the most. I am proud of the HUD team who is honored tonight. I am proud of every single one of the honorees that are here looking so fabulous. And I want to thank you because you inspire us all to do better. You inspire us to be the stewards of the public trust, and you carry that with you each and every single day. Thank you for all that you do, and let us continue to tell the story, the great story, of what government is doing, how we are working for communities, even as we work to improve our efforts to deliver excellence for all.
Thank you, Michelle, for all those inspirational words. And I couldn't have said any of this any better, but being able to tell your stories and to identify these stories, to be able to share with other agencies is one of the reasons that we started this Service to the Citizen Awards. So to present the first award to the 2023 Government Executive of the Year, I'd like to introduce Terry Weipert, the General Manager of Maximus Federal. Maximus Federal has been a longtime supporter of the Service to the Citizen Awards and is our diamond sponsor this year. Thank you for your support, Terry, and I will turn it over to you.
Okay. Thank you. And I know many in the room tonight, and Martha, we go back a long way. And what you've done here. Yeah, that's true, you do. But we've worked together, and I've been supporting government business and services for years. And I've enjoyed and been honored to work with many of the clients that are in the room today and many of the partners that are in the room today. And especially in support of Martha, her team, the people that support you, thank you. This is a very important recognition and honor. And so Maximus Federal, you know what we do. You can look us up. I'm not going to give you a long speech about that. But I am going to tell you as someone that has been involved in the government for so many years, my own family members, my husband is a veteran. We went through all sorts of things. I've worked with different agencies over the years. And I've thoroughly enjoyed every moment of it. And I'm honored to be part of a customer service Excellence Award and a ceremony. And I look forward to continuing doing the things that we do today. You all have extraordinary missions, and we are really positioned to help you. So thank you. So with that, tonight, we celebrate the remarkable achievements of the 2023 Government Executive of the Year, Dr. Alek I did it wrong. Sripipatana, and I think I got that right, though Alek told me I could call him by his first name. His 12-year tenure at the Health, Human Resources and Services Administration has reshaped healthcare through innovation. It has left an indelible mark. Dr. Sripipatana tackled data-related challenges faced by underserved communities by championing electronic healthcare record adoption to enhance access, quality, and efficiency of care. His leadership ensured uniform data practices, aligning standards with electronic specifications. By 2022, 15 of the 18 clinical quality measures met Centers for Medicare and Medicaid requirements. He transformed health centers into technology pioneers through strategic public-private collaborations and merging innovative technologies to improve information exchange, care coordination, and patient safety. Dr. Sripipatana conquered technological barriers. He led the implementation of fast healthcare interoperability resources nationwide and transitioned to a data cloud strategy. That's not easy to do. His work has impacted over 30 million patients, advancing data and health technology while fostering better outcomes. We honor Alek for his visionary leadership, his unwavering commitment to technology and data, and his transformative impact on health equity nationwide. Congratulations. I get to give you this so we can take a picture. And then you can speak. Okay, I think we're done. She said done. Okay, you're going to speak.
Wonderful, thank you.
I'll set that right here. That's right.
I think I heard the word awkward earlier. I'd first like to share my deep felt gratitude to service to the citizen for establishing an award that recognizes excellence in government, as well as fosters the important relationship between public and government. There's a lot that's happening in government that is worth recognition. I just happen to be a part of that, a little part of that. Sorry. I'm incredibly humbled to be recognized this year, and I hope to continue to do the work that is deserving of this prestigious recognition. The award will be among the sources of inspiration that I draw from that drive me to show up every day. It will sit alongside two very important Hawaiian values, I'm part Native Hawaiian, that I go to for inspiration and guidance. Because to me, this award represents these values, which are kuleana and malama. For those who are less familiar with those terms, kuleana is that sense of responsibility for each other, responsibility to our family, responsibility to our community. And malama is to care for, protect, preserve. That being said, I'd like to think that I'm actually accepting on behalf of a group award. On behalf of the 2.87 million civil servants in federal government who've also dedicated their professional lives and in many cases their personal lives to making this country even better for its citizens. Some of those persons are also being recognized this evening in the audience, so if you haven't already, really encourage you to meet those folks, and then you'll really realize why that I'm just one of many. I do have the distinct privilege of making my particular contributions to the betterment of our citizens at the Health Resources and Services Administration. Thank you. Who are that? The Bureau of Primary Health Care, in which my unit is nested in, oversees the Health Center program, a program that includes over 15,000 community health centers nationwide. These health centers are the vital source of primary care for over 30 million people across the country and stretching into the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. These are citizens who come from our nation's highest need communities, 9 out of 10 of which are 200% below federal poverty line. 1 of 5 are uninsured. About a quarter are limited English proficient. Many of the patients served at health centers have very real competing factors to obtaining the health care that they need. Many have to run game theory to weigh out the decision of getting care because they may not be compensated for time away from work to obtain the care that they need. And time away from work means that food doesn't get put on the table. The Health Center program was born out of President Johnson's War on Poverty and established with the mission to improve the health of the nation's underserved communities and vulnerable populations by assuring access to comprehensive, culturally competent, quality primary care services. That in and of itself is motivation enough for a person to want to show up every day. So a little bit about why I'm here tonight. It all begins with data, and of course it does because I'm a self-recognized data geek. But we are at a critical juncture for our community health centers. Innovations in health information technology have presented us with the incredible opportunity to advance our data collection strategies and our data maturity model to better serve those 30 million patients, those 30 million lives that receive their care through the health center program. In the workplace, in the workspace that I occupy, data is the cornerstone in advancing health outcomes. In fact, just earlier this week, the White House announced new actions supporting the cancer moonshot and reaffirming its commitment to ending cancer as we know it. An aspect of this multi-pronged effort is leveraging the data that my unit oversees of our community health centers to further advance effective care models that improve access to life-saving cancer screenings in historically medically underserved populations and communities. Data, if harnessed and leveraged effectively, are incredible agents of change. Data, in the context of my work, translates to people, which I take very seriously, very personally. Each datum represents a person, a life, a care journey. I see it as my responsibility, my kuleana, to leverage these data to best of my ability to serve those very patients they represent, to tell their story through data. About 99% of our health centers have implemented electronic health record systems that connect data across the constellation of service delivery sites and are being used by all of their providers. The transition from paper medical charts to electronic medical records and the broad-scale adoption and use of electronic health record systems across these 15,000 service delivery sites has opened the door to share and connect health-related data in a way never before seen since the inception of the Health Center program. The electronic exchange of medical information and data has paved the way for our program to receive de-identified patient-level data securely with high quality, fidelity, while minimizing reporting burden. So that's a lot of gibberish. What does that mean? It means that my team will now have data that will allow us to dig deeper analytically, to map potentially unique care-seeking, care receipt, and health outcome trajectories across subsets of our diverse patient population. With patient-level data, we'll be able to cross-reference important known factors that influence healthcare and health outcomes, things like race, ethnicity, sex, gender, age, insurance status, those very important social determinants of health. Findings from these new data will better inform resource allocation, which is very important when you operate within the reality of finite resources. These data will better inform training and technical assistance. They'll target, establish, and deploy health interventions with more precision. We'll be in a better place to attenuate, close the gap in health disparities. We can better care for our patients. To this point, I've focused much of our attention to the fact that we're harnessing advances made in health IT and taking full advantage of the opportunities these technological advances have allotted us. I want to be clear that we're not doing these things because we can. We're doing these things because it's the right thing to do to best serve our patients, to care for, to malama our patients and communities. As mentioned earlier, I'd like to think that I'm here accepting on behalf of a group award among the 2.87 million civil servants in federal government. There are standouts to me, those that should be up here with me. My staff, incredibly dedicated, maybe even more enthusiastic about our work than I am, maybe. My colleagues in the office, very supportive bureau leadership. I mean, we're taking on a pretty serious endeavor, and to some degree, it's a gamble, but I think they have some level of interest in me to pull this thing off. On a more personal note, I do want to recognize and thank my mom, who raised me as a single parent since I was 8. She worked incredibly hard to make sure that I had opportunities that she didn't have, opportunities that have landed me into this career and into this evening with you tonight. She's a source of my work ethic, care for others, my grit. And finally, I'd like to thank my wife, Tabitha, my +1, my plus everything, most definitely for her support and allowing me to uproot our family in California to pursue my dream of working in Washington, D.C. I feel that I found an opportunity in working at the Health Resources and Service Administration for the Health Center program that best harnesses the talents that I have to offer to making this world a better place. In closing, I just want to leave you with a little something that I share with my staff. We do these 15-minute huddles Monday mornings to talk about what's happening in sort of the health policy world, primary care world, is connect our work with what's happening in the primary care ecosystem. So today starts a new work week, and we get another opportunity to do some good in the service of others. Thanks for everything that you do to support our program. Thanks for everything that you all do to support our citizenry. Let's get after it. Thank you.
Congratulations. And the boxes are under here, so that before you leave, we'll give you a box. Thank you. Thank you, Alek, for your dedication and commitment to improving public health. And Tabitha, I think you got a pretty good guy there. Our goal is to ensure that every winner feels special for their unique programs and successes. In addition to the program today, please visit Service to the Citizen website to learn about each winner's story.
In the category of building a customer-focused culture and driving improved experiences across government, the winners are Tamika Hamlin, Deputy Chief Customer Experience Officer at the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Stephanie Moore, Customer Experience Strategist at the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. Eric Bruce, Chief Experience Officer at the National Gallery of Art. Tashana Beal, Customer Experience Strategist at the Washington Headquarters Services in the U.S. Department of Defense. Kathy Conrad, Director of Digital Government at the Accenture Federal Services. The Enterprise Measurement and Design Directorate at the Veteran Experience Office in the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. The Federal Indian Boarding School Initiative Team at the Bureau of Trust Funds Administration in the U.S. Department of the Interior. Congratulations. Will these winners please stand to be recognized?
Congratulations again to these winners who have driven improved customer experiences across the government. So thank you again for your service. And now to move into the Industry Executive of the Year. This year's Industry Executive of the Year has been a champion for customer experience in the delivery of government services. Under his leadership, he's transformed NuAxis into a customer-focused organization with the purpose of partnering with the government to deliver outstanding services to their customers to restore trust in government. Our Industry Executive of the Year has prioritized customer experience, including human-centered design and employee experience within NuAxis. His commitment to these disciplines has resulted in the integration of customer experience and human-centered design best practices across the company, including company-wide CX and HCD training. In addition to his leadership within NuAxis, Raza Latif, the CEO, actively contributes to the industry as an ADI board member and a member of the Customer Experience Advisory Board at the University of Richmond. He engages regularly with the community in CX events and hosts many of his own. Raza's passion and commitment for CX and employee experience within NuAxis and his dedication to the government's CX agenda sets him apart as an exceptional leader. This passion has positioned him as a leader in the industry. Thank you for supporting the government's journey to improve the services they deliver to the public. Please join me in welcoming Raza Latif.
So I've been asked to say a few words, and Martha did not know what she was signing up for, because I don't know what few words means. But I will try to stick to that. I will try to stick to the time. So first of all, congratulations to each one of you for winning these awards today. I think this is, Martha, thank you so much for giving us this break, this reprieve, where we can all get together, have fun, dress up, and really celebrate all the amazing work that all of you do. So thank you all for what you do. And I was thinking about what to talk about, and I thought about this, that I might never get an award again, so I'm going to treat it like my Academy Award, Best Actor Award. So first of all, I want to thank my wife. I'm going to start there. Sickness and health, thick and thin, she has literally carried me. Literally, not figuratively, she has literally carried me through it all. So thank you so much, Fatima. My team, which is over there somewhere. I see Lindsay, Jessica, Seema, Tiffany, Amanda. This is an award for you guys. Listen, I'm just a pretty face and the guy who likes the limelight. That's why I'm getting the award. So this is definitely an award for my amazing team. I also wanted to take this moment, since I have the podium, to thank my mentor, somebody who I literally stand on his shoulders and I get a little. Martha, you started it. So I literally stand on his shoulders. His name is Imran. He actually has COVID today. He's the chairman of the board of our company. So he couldn't make it, but I really, really want, I'm standing here. I'm literally standing on his shoulders, and I'm doing this because of his faith in me and of him allowing me to really go on this CX journey that you were talking about. So when this was put on social media, it actually, Service to the Citizen, Raza Latif, Industry Executive of the Year. The best comment I got on social media was, "Which citizen have you served?" Question mark, exclamation point. And I was like, you know what, that's a good question. My company does what it does, and I'm very proud of it. But who have I served, and why am I so passionate about service to the citizen? And the answer came from within. I think I'm very passionate about service to the citizen because I am that citizen who has been served for the longest time ever, and I want to share that journey with you very quickly. I came to this country in 2000, 23 years ago, and I was being served by our federal government in 1988. Google it. There's something called the USIS, United States Information Service, which is a service that's associated, it's a State Department service that's associated with the embassy where I grew up. And I used to walk in there, and I used to actually follow the Dukakis. Does everybody remember Dukakis and Bush Sr.? Yes? I used to follow that election in 1988 as a 13-year-old child, and I knew what was going on in that election. I used to look at prospectuses. You remember what prospectuses, college prospectuses? I would look at them and dream about coming to America and having an education in those universities. So I'm being served since at least 1988, if not before. And then there's this program called the H-1B program, which is out of the what is used to be called INS, now Homeland Security. It's the H-1B program that allowed me to come to this country. And I'm going to just list these programs, and they're all acronyms and numbers, but they are things that have literally put me where I am today. The H-1B program, the Permanent Residence Program, also known as the Green Card Program. I remember the first time when I got the green card and I was coming back to the country from somewhere, and the officer at the border said, "Welcome home, sir." And I wanted to hug him. I was like, yes, finally, I am home. And then what followed was the naturalization program. All of a sudden, I'm a citizen. I thought, even as a child, that I'm a citizen of America. On that day, I just had to I had to tell our government that, listen, catch up. I've always been a citizen of this country. You just are finding out. So the naturalization program put me where it is. Then there is the 8A program. You know, our company benefited from the 8A program. It's a small business administrations program, which has really, really helped us. The actual small business set-aside program, which allows us. So program after program, service after service, things that each one of you do have allowed me to stand here in this fancy suit. It's not that fancy, but in a fancy ballroom, and having a voice and getting award and recognized by the likes of Martha and her selection committee. And so literally, I'm a product of all that you do. And it is such a privilege, such an honor to be here. And you know, in addition to the fact that I like to talk about myself, the reason why I wanted to share that journey is that what each one of you do impacts thousands, actually millions of people like me. What you do actually changes trajectories. It changes lives. It changes them for the better. It's not what you do as the federal government is not just a nice to have service that when it's there, you know, things are moving along. There is this game-changing, earth-shattering impact of what you do. And I'm standing here as a proof of that. And I want us to celebrate that. I want us to really, really acknowledge that the impact is so humongous that we should really, really all take a moment and give ourselves a round of applause for what we do. And I know we're on limited time, so just a little lecture. I know my wife and my sons are sick of my lectures, but I'll do a. So why does this matter, right? The impact that you guys have, why does it matter? It matters because when we are hearing about all this conversation about erosion of trust in government, erosion of trust in you know, citizens' trust in government, I think it's a purely relevance issue. It's not a trust issue. And this is my lecture, my hypothesis, just bear with me. And the reason why it's a relevance issue is because we, as the government, are not being able to understand how citizens consume services. We are not being able to, thanks to Facebook, Google, Uber, Airbnb, so on and so forth, we are not being able to really understand the context and the way in which our citizens consume services, and which is why CX and human-centered design is an existential need. It is going to allow us to be more relevant. We are an extremely important pillar. When I say we, I mean the government. We are an extremely important pillar of this society. And for us to be relevant, it's very important that we apply the principle of CX human-centered design. End of lecture. I want to thank you all for this. I did have a story about the immigration officer who issued me my naturalization certificate, about how she smelled my passport and loved it. So please reach out to me in the after party and I will share that story with you. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.
I think all of us can understand, and like that's why we do this, is to impact the lives of people every day. And I think Raza did a great job at like giving us examples of how the services that the government has provided have impacted his life from the time he was a little boy to now the CEO of a company. So thank you, Raza. And now, category 2.
In the category of delivering excellence in digital services, these winners are being recognized for their efforts in diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. The Customer Accessibility Resource Staff in the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Kurt Dobine, Assistant Secretary for Information and Technology and Chief Information Officer in the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Kathleen O'Laughlin, Women's Veterans Program Manager at the Atlanta VA Healthcare System in the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Kate Sweeney, HHS Section 508 Program Director, Office of Chief Information Officer, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. The Product and Disability Rights Section in the U.S. Civil Rights Division in the U.S. Department of Justice. Melissa Tran, Licensed Marriage and Family Therapist for Perinatal Reproduction Education Planning and Resources at the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Congratulations! Will these winners please stand to be recognized? In the category of delivering excellence in digital services, these winners are being recognized for their efforts in reimagining the digital experience. Noreen Heckmanzik, Senior Advisor to the Federal Chief Information Officer at the Office of Management and Budget. The USA.gov team in the Public Experience, Portfolio, Technology, and Transformational Services in the U.S. General Services Administration. The Service Design Program team in the Office of Customer Experience in the U.S. General Services Administration. The Web and Emerging Technologies Group at the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services in the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Mark Richardson, Director of the Healthcare.gov team, and Jeff Grant, the Deputy Director for Operations at the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services in the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Joshua Lehman, Chief Customer Experience Officer and Director, Office of Business and Customer Assurance, Office of Digital Transformation at the U.S. Food and Drug Administration in the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Suzanne Klinker, Deputy Network Director for the Veterans Health Administration's Veterans Integrated Services Network 8 Clinical Contact Center in the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. SSA.gov redesign team in the Office of Chief Business Officer at the Social Security Administration. The IRS.gov transformation team at the Internal Revenue Service at the U.S. Department of Treasury. Information Technology Enterprise Program Management Office, Information Returns Modernization at the Internal Revenue Service in the U.S. Department of Treasury. Larry Smith, Director of Educational Technology at the College of Distance Education and Training in the U.S. Marine Corps. Ronita Lal, General Manager for Digital Programs in the MyGov program at Services Australia. Chris Woolison, Web Services Manager at the Illinois Department of Information Technology. Mohammed Al-Rohi, Chief Information Officer for the County of Los Angeles Office of the Public Defender. Dr. Raquishula Stewart, Housing and Neighborhood Services, Charmec 311 Division Manager for the City of Charlotte, North Carolina. The Booz Allen Hamilton Recreation.gov team. Robert Kale, Program Manager for the Web and Mobile Technology Program in the Defense Health Agency. The Office of Communications in the Health Resources and Services Administration in the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. the Office of Community Relations at the Prince George's County Government. Congratulations. Will these winners please stand to be recognized? In the category of delivering excellence in digital services, these winners are being recognized for their efforts in transforming government benefits and services. The Women, Infants, and Children team at GCOM Software. Dream Key Partners. The Community Planning and Development team in the Office of Disaster Recovery and the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Congratulations. Will these winners please stand to be recognized? In the category of delivering excellence in digital services, these winners are being recognized for their efforts in transforming healthcare to our veterans. Dr. Sripipatana, professor in geriatrics at Florida Atlantic University at the VA Medical Center, West Palm Beach, in the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Dr. Greg Rieger, Deputy Associate Chief of Staff in the Mental Health Services at VA Puget Sound Healthcare Systems in the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. The Veterans Integrated Services Network 23 Clinical Resource Hub at the Virtual Medical Retina Clinic in the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Dr. Ann Utek, the National Director for the Nutritional and Food Services at the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. The Manchester Veterans Affairs Medical Center Teleaudiology Program. Congratulations. Will the winners please stand to be recognized?
Delivering digital services is the intersection between technology, including cybersecurity, data, innovation, diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, culture, customer understanding, and design. So these were not easy jobs to do, and acknowledging all of this transformation that's going on is definitely worth another round of applause. Congratulations to our winners who have transformed digital services. And now for the next award, it's our Lifetime Achievement Award. She's been a tireless advocate for individuals with developmental disabilities with a career spanning over 40 years. As the Executive Director of the Minnesota Governor's Council on Developmental Disabilities, she's championed their rights and inclusion, driving positive change in policies and services. This year's Lifetime Achievement Award winner is Dr. Colleen Wieck, Executive Director, Minnesota's Governor's Council on Developmental Disabilities. Under Dr. Wieck's leadership, the GCDD created an Influential Partners in Policymaking program, training thousands of individuals and families to effectively advocate at all levels of government. She introduced tools such as Telling Your Story app and the Autism Help app for emergencies, improving communication and support to those with developmental disabilities. Dr. Wieck's efforts have influenced federal and state laws, expanding access and opportunities for individuals with developmental disabilities. She's created a stronger voice in decision-making processes and achieved greater independence and productivity. Dr. Wieck's dedication has had a profound impact on the public, empowering individuals with developmental disabilities to lead fulfilling lives and ensuring their inclusion in society. Her legacy of advocacy continues to shape policies and improve the lives of countless individuals across Minnesota and beyond. Please join me in recognizing Dr. Colleen Wieck.
I am sincerely thankful for this honor. Thank you to the sponsors. Thank you, Margaret. Thank you to the Minnesota Department of Administration, our council, and hundreds of people who have mentored and taught me so much. So I'm going to take time to honor the people in this room, and I'm going to share with you a public service pledge. It's called, I Will Do More. I'm only one, but I am one. I cannot do everything, but I can do something. And what I can do, I ought to do. And what I ought to do, I will do. I will do more than belong. I will participate. I will do more than care. I will help. I will do more than believe. I will practice. I will be more than fair. I will be kind. I will do more than dream. I will work. I will do more than teach. I will inspire. I will do more than earn. I will enrich. I will do more than give. I will serve. I will do more than live. I will grow. I will do more than talk. I will act. I will be more than good. I will be good for something. And so thank you to the generosity, thank you, Margaret, and the gracious hosting of this wonderful evening. Thank you.
In the category of streamlining government services, these winners are being recognized for their use of data and innovation. Bryn Cole, Director, Design and Storytelling, Veterans Health Administration Innovation Ecosystem in the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Allison Ammerheide, MPH Director at the Veterans Health Administration Innovators Network in the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Danielle Hagan, Diffusion Specialist, Veterans Health Administration Innovation Ecosystem in the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Taylor Hooker, Incoming Chief of Learning and Engineering at the San Francisco VA Medical Center and Entrepreneur and Residence Fellow at the VHA Innovation Ecosystems in the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Indra Sandel, Chief of Innovation at the James A. Haley Veterans Hospital, Tampa, Florida, in the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Rachel Kelly, Deputy Chief at the Cybersecurity Shared Services Office, Cybersecurity Division in the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency in the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. The Secure Cloud Business Applications Team at the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency in the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. Eris Gill from the U.S. Department of Veterans Administration and Laura White from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services for the government-wide employee experience community of practice. The Rural Partners Network in the Rural Development of the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Gary Olson, Deputy Executive Director of the Talent Management Directorate in Human Resources Management at the U.S. Customs and Border Protection at the Department of Homeland Security. DHS Burden Reduction Initiative in the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. Mary Byers, Director, Human Capital Strategy and Evaluation for Human Resources Directorate at the Washington Headquarters Services in the U.S. Department of Defense. Congratulations. Will these winners please stand to be recognized? Stay tuned as we present the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Congratulations to these winners for using data, innovation, and breaking down organizational barriers when delivering services. Congratulations again. One of my favorite awards, and all of these awards are really inspiring. Well, there's the next two are really near and dear to my heart. But I love the CX Trailblazer Awards for those early adopters and trailblazers that have helped to bring focus to the importance of improving government services and show how important it is to the country, to government employees, and to citizens. This year's CX Trailblazer is Melissa Eggleston, user experience researcher and designer at the digital services at the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid at the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Ms. Eggleston played a crucial role in multiple cross-agency efforts related to behavioral health, including in the transition of the suicide hotline to the plain language 988 application. Focused on inclusion and reaching different members of the public, she traveled the country to reach underserved demographics for input during the design phase of multiple websites related to 988 and substance use, conducting research with those with disabilities, serious mental illness, substance use disorders, as well as LGBTQI+ youth and people impacted by the justice system. Leveraging the Customer Experience Executive Order, Melissa provided payment to these populations as a token of thanks for sharing their valuable experience. She also collaborated with critical organizations like the World Institute on Disability and the Trevor Project to ensure the needs of their clients are well understood. Melissa and her teammates also conducted research sessions and created a plain language document for 911 operators to facilitate connections with 988. These achievements have had significant public benefits. The 988 Lifeline received 152,000 more calls, chats, and texts in August 2022 compared to the previous year with improved response times. The average speed to answer decreased from 2.5 minutes to 42 seconds, saving countless lives since the program's launch. Melissa's dedication to customer experience and her contributions to behavioral health services have been invaluable, making a significant impact on the success of these initiatives. Thank you, Melissa, for your dedication in the creation of the cross-agency efforts creating 911 for behavioral health support. Please join me in congratulating Melissa Eggleston.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. It's a real honor. I feel really grateful. I really enjoyed the other people who've spoken, and I'm so proud of everybody who got all these awards. There's a number of people I want to thank. First off, thank you for creating this wonderful event. It's nice to be acknowledged for the hard work that we all do. I've worked a lot of different places. I've worked at startups, and I've worked at global companies, and I've consulted a lot, and then the government was like super hard. I was like, wow. I thought I had worked on complicated projects, and I had no idea. I want to thank the United States Digital Service, which is what brought me into government. So I'm grateful to them. And then the team that's been my home for more than a year now is the digital service at the Centers for Medicaid and Medicare, led by Andrea Fletcher right over here. And it's a really special group, and really anybody on my team could get this award because this is our thing, is really making sure we're changing things for the American public and that we're making it better and improving experiences. Christina Shildroth on my team is part of the reason I'm here. The leadership at CMS that encourages us to get out there, to ask people, listen to their problems, and try to fix things. We have wonderful partners in SAMHSA, the 988 office there, run by Monica Johnson, is really great. They have so much heart, and they keep getting better all the time. I can't find better people than James Wright and Stephanie Grosser to work with. They're fabulous. And on everything I worked on in the last year, Amy Behrens was typically the project lead and who would clear the way and get all the partners in alignment and get rid of obstacles when I was like, I'm having trouble. And thank you to the other researchers and designers who I got to work with, like Ayat Ali, Meg Peters, Matthias Rexegol, Cass Olson, who's here, and who's worked with me with the 911, 988 connections, which is hard. And we're continuing to push to have better alignment there. And of course, I'm grateful to my husband, who takes care of my daughter when I am off running around the country traveling. I did want to share a story with you from the traveling adventure I was able to have. It's really important to us at the digital service at CMS that we design with people and not for people. It is very important, as many of you know, that we hear their voices early and often as we develop products and services, so we make sure we create things that are relevant. And a lot of why I got into, even considered joining the government, was to help restore trust, because it's very alarming, right? Sometimes when you see the level of trust in government, and I think it's all of our job to fix that. And so I traveled the country and went different places, but there was this one moment that I felt pretty proud of our team and what we were doing. And I had flown to Minnesota. What a great state. And because our team is remote, we're all over the place. And my colleague drove over from Minneapolis, and we were in Moorhead, Minnesota, and he brought bikes so we could bike around to where we needed to go. And you might be thinking, that's a little unusual, and it really represents our team. Like, we're a little quirky, and we're nerdy, and I was like, sure, we'll ride bikes. I did crash once. Fortunately, like, not too many people saw it, and I picked myself up, and I was fine. And so we had 2 days of research to do with people who we were going to intercept. And the first day went very smoothly at the state university, finding students to help us look at a prototype, make it better. The next day was really rough. It was a hard day. It was messy. We went to a community college. We were at a mental health fair. We had a lot of people who'd come in from the rural parts of the state. It was very busy. A lot of the stories were really traumatic. We heard people directly affected by the justice system, by substance use, by the many problems we have in our country related to drugs and alcohol. And then in the middle of it all, the fire alarm went off, and it was just one of those days, you know, where at the end of the day, I was like, I don't know whether to laugh, cry, run, scream. It was just wild. And we were biking home afterwards. We were biking back to our hotel, and I was like, we're doing it. Like, we're rebuilding trust in government one interaction at a time. Because those people we got to spend time with, we never would have found if we'd sat at our desks and just did remote research. We had to go to them to get to these Medicaid recipients who were in rural Minnesota and make sure that their voice was heard too. And so that made me feel really good that we're on the right track and that we can continue to rebuild one interaction at a time. And I know you're all working on this too, because when somebody comes and gets a government service, I want them to feel their government cares for them. When they're interacting with a form, I don't want them to be scared. I mean, I'll hear people say, it's a scary form. I'm like, oh no. I want you to feel loved when you fill that form. I want you to feel like, we're gonna get better, right? So thank you so much for being here and working on rebuilding trust in government with me and improving experiences for our American public. Thank you all. Thank you, Loren. Thank you.
In the category of implementing customer experience principles and practices when serving other agencies, these winners include Tricia Savecki, Principal Deputy Assistant Commissioner in the Federal Acquisition Service at the U.S. General Services Administration, the Grants Quality Service Management Office and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Congratulations! Will these winners please stand to be recognized? Congratulations again to this year's winners. Will all the past and present Service to the Citizen Award winners please stand?
Well, we aren't quite done yet, but I did want to say that it's really important to remember that internal services as well as to other agencies really enable other agencies to deliver agencies' missions so that they can serve the public. So thank you to those who work across government to help other agencies. And I did want to comment, Melissa, on your remarks too about building trust in government, because we have examples of where delivering better services improves the trust that your customers have in the services that you provide. VA, for example, has raised their trust scores by like 24% in the last 5 or 6 years. So it's not a myth here. This is real stuff. So anyway, thank you for both of you for your your comments and all the award winners. But the last award, it's important to nurture our next generation of public servants. In 2021, we created a new award to highlight the hard work and dedication of those rising in their careers to support the public. This recognized not only their current achievements, but all the future possibilities that they bring. This year, we're recognizing Petra Alfred, Director of Customer Experience at the U.S. Department of the Navy. Petra Alfred has revolutionized communication within the United States Navy through her transformative Voice of the Customer program. In just 1 year, Petra created a culture-changing platform that enables sailors to provide candid feedback on Navy systems and processes. Under Petra's leadership, the program has highlighted areas for improvement and scaled successful practices across the Navy. She's prioritized best practices, engaged stakeholders, and developed executive dashboards to ensure timely information flow. Petra's human-centered approach has empowered sailors by valuing their voices and feedback. Her impact extends beyond the Navy's internal operations. The Voice of the Customer program has collected critical data for information decision-making, leading to meaningful changes. It's positioned the Navy to better achieve its mission by maintaining combat-ready forces, deterring aggression, and preserving freedom of the seas. Petra's vision of the future includes creating effective listening posts, connecting sailors to essential resources during crises, and improving technology systems. Her relentless dedication has made her a champion of change, inspiring others and fostering a culture of engagement and trust. Petra Alfred's leadership exemplifies the Navy's commitment to continuous improvement and the well-being of its personnel. By providing a platform for sailor feedback, she's transformed the organization, ensuring its readiness and effectiveness in fulfilling its crucial mission. Please join me in congratulating Petra Alfred.
I did not prepare a very long speech, but I think everyone is looking forward to wrapping everything up. And I just want to thank everyone for being here and for all the work that you're doing. I wanted to thank Qualtrics for nominating me for this award. I think we're all doing this as a team. We're all doing this because our service members do so much for us. I know that the DoD has not been as active in the customer experience movement yet, but I like to think that I have a vision for changing a culture. And I truly believe that this job that I'm in now is the culmination of everything I've done in my career for the DoD. I've worked 24 years now for starting with the Army and working as a contractor for all the services and now working for the Navy. I just want to give back to our service members who do so much to us and actually show them that we trust them and they can trust us, and we care about what they think, and we want to make systems better for them. We want their experience to be as great as we get on the outside. There's no reason that their systems can't be better, more effective, more usable. And I'm going to keep working until we change the culture in that way, putting together the right team of people, PEO MLB, where I work, is the Manpower Logistics and Business Systems, but we're already reaching out to other agencies within the Navy that are interested in building this enterprise. So I appreciate everyone's listening and opportunity for me to do this for the Navy and for the DoD, and to Qualtrics for providing the platform and the tool that will allow us to do this. And we'll slowly but surely make incremental change that will impact our service members' lives. So thank you.
And now we have the Fils de Resistance. I'd like to introduce the closing keynote, Loren DeJonge Schulman, Associate Director for Performance and Personnel Management at the Office of Management and Budget. This means that she drives the implementation of the President's management agenda and oversees the federal customer experience team at OMB. Before serving at OMB, she recently worked at the Partnership for Public Service, and before that, she was at the White House and the Department of Defense. So please join me in our closing keynote, Loren DeJonge Schulman.
I was really worried that it was going to be the long bio and that the awkward moment would have occurred. But thank you, Martha, for the short bio. I appreciate that. That feels more me. Okay, I know I speak for everyone here for wanting to thank, at the start, Martha for creating this community and this moment. And the recognition, the willingness to recognize all the work that all of you do. Hearing your stories tonight has just been incredible. I want to thank you, all of you, for being here. We all have families and lives and Netflix. I've got a lot of Netflix built up. And you came here tonight and you stayed, and I can feel the energy in this room. You are so excited and inspired in this moment for all of these humans, for all of the service that they do, and all of the work they're doing every day for the American people in the world. So thank you for being here. Give yourself a round of applause. I want to recognize I am between you and an after party. If you need to stand up, pour yourself another glass of wine, do a dance, whatever you need to do, I will try to honor that moment, whatever you need to do for that. I do get a tiny bit of time, though, to celebrate all of you. I'm going to make a little bit of use of it because, first of all, I have an amazing team who gave me remarks for this, and second of all, you're incredible, and I'm going to take the time I have to be on this stage. It is so, as I was saying before, it is so amazing to me to see the Service to the Citizen Awards continue to recognize the kind of work that all of you are doing in so many amazing ways. And to see the different, to me, like when you listen to the remarks and the stories of the people who are serving here tonight, they're all doing so many different things, and all of them are in service as one objective. That shows to me how mature and incredible this entire space has gone over the last, well, certainly the decade that I'm familiar with, but longer than that for many of you. I work at the Office of Management and Budget, and I am privileged to serve under President Joe Biden, who have said in many incredible remarks about the work that we do, that we have to prove to democracy, that we have to prove that democracy still works, that government still works, and that we can deliver for our people. So first off, I want you to add that to your resume, that you are on a mission from the president. He is behind you all the way, whatever you're doing, all of you are in the space, you're on a mission from the President of the United States. His belief that democracies have to show that our government can and does work and does deliver is why we believe, in my job every day, and the amazing team that works for me, and all of you in this room, is why we believe that putting the American people first should be a hallmark of everything that we do. And I know to all of you, that seems really obvious. Like, of course, that's why we're here. This is why we do this work every day. I know also that it feels really hard sometimes, that putting the American people first, putting the customer first, putting the citizen first, however you frame this, sometimes it's incredibly difficult to make that feel real for you. But I know that you're trying to make it real, you're trying to make it normal, you're trying to make it easy, and you're trying to make it expected. This is just the normal thing we do. When the president a few years ago signed the executive order on customer experience, he asked leaders from many of the agencies in this room to stand behind him, because I think for a number of reasons, I like the symbolism there of he wanted to show that they are accountable for this. They are accountable for all the work that you do. They are accountable to the people that we're watching. They are accountable to the people who have never heard of them before and will never know their names and would maybe don't even realize that the services that are available to them are delivered from the federal government in some way. He told them, and I think about this every day, you should not have to know how to know. I love that phrase. Since then, thanks to many of you who are in this room, many of you who spoke this night, many of you who are honored, we have made some amazing progress over the last few years. I want you to think about for a minute where we were, like maybe, let's say 5 years ago. How many of your agencies had chief customer experience officers? Or how many of your agencies were putting out hiring actions for user experience or design, or human-centered design experts? Some of them were. A lot of them were not. A lot of them would have said, I don't know what that means necessarily. We have made amazing strides in the last several years, just the maturity of the space and the vocabulary and the conversation there. I want to talk for a minute, though, about time. I'm taking your time right now, so I'm going to talk about time. I want to talk about time as a precious resource that all of you are giving back to Americans in a really important way. Time not spent on paperwork, time not spent on forms, time not spent on stress and incredibly difficult moments. Thanks to the work that many of you are doing, for example, farmers spend less time on paperwork, and I think that's incredible. The farm loan, some of you are in this room right now, so the farm loan direct loan application program that is submitted more than 25,000 times annually, this is a very used form, has been reduced from 29 pages, that's a lot of pages, to 13 pages, and from 10 forms to 1 form. People are spending less time on holds. Like, I mean, honestly, whoever did that, I want to buy them a drink, and even if the drinks are free, I'll buy them a drink tonight. IRS has expanded their customer callbacks program to 75% of its toll-free demand, and last year, the IRS offered customer callbacks to more than 11 million taxpayers, saving taxpayers, like many of you in this room, more than 3.6 million hours. You save them time. Families are staying more connected to housing. In February 2023, some of you in this room from Housing and Urban Development, from HUD, published a rule, this is a little nerdy, published a rule implementing a number of burden reduction actions that will help tenants reduce the number of required interactions they have to have with public housing agencies and make it easier to apply for and recertify their housing programs. It basically means that as opposed to spending all of my time dealing with government, I spend all of my time on things that matter to me or things that matter to my family, things that are important to my job. These are very small steps that add up to an incredible amount. They add up to a government that not only delivers, but is working every day to make that delivery simple, seamless, and secure. These are the types of things that matter to Americans. They matter because they expect government to work. In a democracy, government should not be invisible, but it also should not be a burden. And I think like the things like making forms work better, making websites work better, making it the number of hours people spend on hold, that is an incredible moment for a democracy that you all are contributing to every day. And I am in a room of people who celebrate things like forms are simpler now. Like, yes, forms are simpler. Melissa talked about earlier, Melissa said something earlier that really spoke to me. I think things like websites written in plain languages and simpler forms are the love language of democracy. This is how we engage with our citizens. We see them, we are trying to hear them, we are trying to recognize people's needs and meet them where they are. And with that, I'm going to bureaucracy at you for just a second. It won't take long, but some of you will appreciate. The team that I work with has been working with many of what we call high-impact service providers for the last 5 years to help them understand, where are you in this moment? What's your capacity? How can we help you grow? And we've learned some things in the past 5 years in working with them, but also just in the past year in listening to like where they are in this moment and what they need in order to continue to deliver for the American people. Two things I'll share with you from what we've learned this year. First, I don't have to tell you, but I will say anyway, that the success of high-impact service providers is very closely tied and directly related to how often you hear from customers about their experience with services. Obviously, yes. But in 3/4 of what we call high-impact service providers are collecting customer feedback. Incredible. But only about half of them are actually taking that feedback and sharing that with senior leadership in some way. Maybe not as incredible. We're working on that. This is something we've heard, we've learned the lesson of we need to listen to customers. We are working on improving the lesson of we need to take that feedback, take it to leaders, take it to those who can take action on it, take it to those who are going to make it a moment that matter, and take it to those like you in this room who are going to do something with the insights and the solutions that customers are offering all the time. They're the source here. First thing we've learned, and something that we're working on over the next year, and I'm excited to partner with so many of you. Second, very obvious given all the people that have been on stage tonight, leaders are incredibly important to this customer experience movement. 95% of HISPs, of high-impact service providers, and I don't want to ask who that 5% is, 95% said that their leadership can talk about what this is. What is customer experience? Why does this matter? What are the services we provide? They speak the language that all of us do in this room. They are using customer experience to measure performance of their senior leaders. They are talking about this without prompting, without the talking points that their teams are giving, all the time in terms of here's why our mission matters. There is more to be done in this space, but based on what I've heard tonight, I actually feel incredibly positive about leadership and customer experience. We have leaders who talk about human-centered design without people having to define it for them. I heard a deputy secretary give a very intense lecture on what HCD was. It was like, I just want to hug you. You're doing amazing. Thank you. There are so many things that are hard about this work, but think about where you were in your life in this customer experience world 2 years ago, 5 years ago, whenever you started. It has changed so much. The work you're doing has had so much impact, and so many people are speaking the language that you're speaking right now. We have an incredible team amongst all of us, and I'm so happy to be with you here in this moment because my work is primarily focused on people. Not only the people that we serve, that all of you serve every day, but the people who make up our government, the people who come to public service. So those are kind of the two halves of my portfolio, and it's incredible to be able to bring that together this evening and be able to honor both those who serve and those who we are serving in that way. You are an incredible, precious thread in our democracy, and you tie these two populations together in a way that is so vital to the health of what we do in this country every day. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you so much. Thank you for tolerating me being up here for the last few minutes of the show. And I hope you have an incredible evening, and congratulations again to all of our award winners tonight.
So thank you again, Loren, for your support of the Service to the Citizen Awards and your leadership at OMB on improving government services. You have about 2 minutes left, and then it's time for the after party. So as we come to the end of this 6th annual Service to the Citizen Awards, I want to thank all the public servants, especially the current and past Service to the Citizen Award winners. Thank you to those in the room, those who have joined virtually. And then from me, our selection committee, the people attending today, and our sponsors, thank you for your service. Thank you to everyone who took time out of their busy schedules to come here today and celebrate these accomplishments. And a very special thank you to our volunteers and our PSLA team, especially Alex Shirks and Katie Ferguson over here in the corner. Please stand, ladies. As many of you know, this is the Service to the Citizen team, these three people, so it's quite a feat here. But thank you for putting your trust in us to make this night a reality. For the 2024 Service to the Citizen Awards, start thinking about who you'd like to honor There's been a lot of things, mentioned over the past couple months since we made these selections that need recognition. Nominations will be opened in early February. And if you want to continue networking, join us next door where we had the reception to continue the after party. Thank you for coming.